So Here is the newest movie by Robert Zemeckis. It stars Tom Hanks and Robin Wright. If you don't know who Robert Zemeckis is, he's the director of movies like Back to the Future, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Forrest Gump, Castaway. So many classic films. But more recently, he's directed movies like the Pinocchio remake, and he's been on a bit of a decline for his career.
Do you know the difference between right and wrong?
But this movie has been very hyped up because it's bringing back the Forrest Gump crew with writer Eric Roth, who has been on an absolute tear as of late, being a writer on Killers of the Flower Moon in the first part of Dune. So there was definitely some anticipation for Here, especially when it was revealed that test screenings went really well and test audiences were really into this film. And it seemed like the kind of film that could even compete for the Oscars. I don't know about that one. Yeah, I saw Here, and it's alright, I guess. It's an interesting film. The camera stays in one place the entire time for about a 2-hour duration, and the purpose is to kind of show the history of that place. You see dinosaurs, you see Benjamin Franklin, you see Native Americans, you see like how the place used to be like a nice forest and slowly just all the trees got chopped down and it was turned into a neighborhood. It's an interesting idea. So you see the progression of this tiny place on Earth. As more people inhabit it, finally a house is built around that one spot and people will move into the house. You see a couple where the man is like an airplane pilot when airplanes were kind of first invented. You see another couple where the man like invented the reclining chair. And then you see this next couple move in, and it's Paul Bettany and Kelly Riley, and they are the parents of Tom Hanks and that whole family, and that's like the center of this film. The growing up of Tom Hanks's character and just kind of what happens in his life and how he's sort of stuck in this house with Robin Wright. And that like Tom Hanks wants to stay, but Robin Wright wants to leave. And it is kind of an interesting dynamic, but the issue is that as characters, they just don't have the best chemistry in my opinion. And the other thing is that this film, like, it's not linear. It jumps back and forth through time. So you'll see Tom Hanks and Robin Wright, and then you'll go back to Native Americans, or you'll go forward in time to this African American family that eventually moves into the house, and you'll see conversations that they have, like when their son turns 16, and they have this really like deep conversation with him about like what to do when a cop pulls you over as like a person of color. And that was actually a really well done scene in my opinion. And that's the thing, this film has some really like good moments. It keeps itself interesting. I was never really bored. And that feels like a surprising thing for me to be saying just because of how structured it is in its one spot. You feel like this is a film that would get boring. And for me, it never really did. But I could just never fully connect with anybody, because even though yes, like the main character is like Tom Hanks and then Robin Wright, like we don't stick with them. We still jump back and forth to different people throughout time. So I just never felt like I was able to fully connect with them. And I guess like the final bit I can touch on is the de-aging. They de-aged Tom Hanks and Robin Wright to look like they did when they were in their 30s. My biggest issue is that they look like they're in their 30s and we're supposed to believe that they're like 16 and like and then in their 20s. And that's just not great. For the majority of this film, Tom Hanks looks older than Paul Bettany, but Paul Bettany is playing his dad. With that being said, I definitely don't hate Here, but I also don't particularly like it, so I'm gonna give it a solid just 2.5 stars. It's just really like kind of right in the middle for me, with good moments, but a lot of flaws and a lot of things that distract you or pull you out of the film. But anyways, what about all of you? What did you think of Here if you've already seen it? Please feel free to let me know in the comments down below. I always love to start a discussion about the films I talk about here. I'll see you all in the next movie review. Take care.